The final battle began at dawn. The sky turned red as Vorath ships descended through the atmosphere. There were 200 of them, the last of the invasion fleet. Commander Drac watched from his command ship, determined to end this war once and for all. 53 Firebirds rose to meet them. They were outnumbered almost 4 to 1. Their ships were held together with stolen parts and human stubbornness. Their pilots had been trained for weeks, not years. By any logical measure, they should have lost. But humans were never very logical. Hana led the first squadron. Her Firebird cut through the morning sky like a knife. Behind her flew 12 other pilots, each one ready to die for their planet. "Remember your training," she said over the radio. "Stay together. Watch each other's backs. And make every shot count." The battle was chaos. Energy beams crossed the sky in every direction. Ships exploded into balls of fire. Pilots screamed orders and warnings over crackling radios. The noise was deafening. The danger constant. Hannah flew like she had never flown before. She spun through enemy formations, firing at anything that moved. She saw friends die. She saw enemies burn. She kept flying. On the ground, Tay commanded the defense forces. Anti-aircraft weapons fired at any Vorath ship that came too low. Soldiers waited in trenches, ready to fight if the aliens landed. Sora watched from her new workshop, tracking the battle on screens she had built from alien parts. She guided the Firebird pilots, telling them where enemies were gathering, where shields were weak, where openings existed. Squadron 3, enemy fighters approaching from the north. Squadron 2, the command ship is moving east. All units, focus on their landing craft. Do not let them reach the ground. The hours passed. The sun rose higher. Bodies fell from the sky, both human and alien. By noon, the humans had lost 28 Firebirds. The Vorath had lost 87 ships. But they kept coming. Drac would not stop. He could not stop. His entire career, his entire life, depended on winning this battle. Then something unexpected happened. A Vorath soldier on one of the ships sent a message to his family back home. It was supposed to be private, but Wu intercepted it. "Father, I do not think I will survive this day. These humans are not what we were told. They are not primitives. They are warriors. They fight with a fury I have never seen. I think we made a mistake coming here. I think we should have left these creatures alone." The message spread through the Vorath fleet. Soldiers began to question their orders. Officers argued with commanders. Morale, already low, collapsed completely. On the command ship, Drac received reports of crew members refusing to fight. Some ships were pulling back without orders. Others were surrendering to the humans, hoping to be treated better as prisoners than they would be by their own commanders. "Cowards!" Drac screamed. "I will execute every single one of them." But it was too late. The Vorath fleet was falling apart from the inside. Hannah saw the confusion in the enemy formation. She pressed the attack, leading her remaining pilots deep into the heart of the fleet. "They are running," she shouted. "Push them. Push them now." The humans fought with everything they had left. Every missile, every energy bolt, every ounce of courage. The Vorath, already broken in spirit, could not withstand the assault. At 3 in the afternoon, Commander Drac's ship was surrounded. His shields were failing. His crew had abandoned their stations. He stood alone on the bridge, watching human craft circle like predators. A communication came through. It was Tay. "Commander, your fleet is destroyed. Your soldiers are surrendering. You have lost. Accept defeat and end this war." Drac's 4 eyes burned with hatred. He had never lost a battle. He had never been humiliated like this. His entire worldview was crumbling. "The Vorath do not surrender," he said. "Then you will die," Tay replied. But your death will change nothing. Earth has already won. Drac considered his options. He could fight to the end, die with honor, become a martyr for the Empire. Or he could live, return home, and tell the galaxy what had happened here. In the end, survival won over pride. I accept defeat, he said, the words bitter on his tongue. The Vorath Empire withdraws from Earth. A signal went out to every Vorath ship still flying. Cease fire. Retreat. The war was over. On the ground, humans did not celebrate immediately. They were too tired, too hurt, too shocked. They had been fighting for survival for so long that peace felt strange and unreal. Tay walked out of his command cave and looked at the sky. For the first time in 3 months, no alien ships darkened the sun. The clouds were just clouds. The sky was just sky. Hana landed her damaged Firebird in a field of ashes. She climbed out and fell to her knees. She had no energy left. No anger. No fear. Just exhaustion and a strange hollow feeling in her chest. Sora joined her a few minutes later. The engineer was covered in grease and dirt, her hands shaking from too much work and too little sleep. We did it, Sora whispered. We actually did it. We did, Hana agreed. But the cost? They sat together in silence, thinking about everyone they had lost. The days that followed were busy. Prisoners had to be processed. Weapons had to be secured. Bodies had to be buried. The world had to start healing. But the galaxy was watching. When the surviving Vorath ships returned home, they brought terrible news. Earth had defeated the Empire. A primitive species with no space technology had destroyed one of the largest invasion fleets in history. They had killed an admiral. They had captured hundreds of soldiers. They had refused to surrender, even when all hope seemed lost. The story spread from planet to planet. Conquered worlds whispered about the humans who had done the impossible. Some began to dream of their own rebellions. The Vorath Empire issued an official declaration. Earth was classified as a forbidden world. No Vorath ship was to approach within 10 light years. The planet was too dangerous. The creatures living there were too unpredictable. But the declaration said something else too. A warning to the entire galaxy. Do not wake the humans. Do not threaten their world. Do not underestimate their fury. They are not civilized. They are not reasonable. They are survivors of a death world, and they will destroy anything that threatens their existence. Years passed. Earth rebuilt. Cities rose from the ashes. Technology advanced faster than ever before, powered by reverse-engineered alien knowledge. Humans built better ships, better weapons, better defenses. And then, one day, they went to the stars. The first human ship to leave the solar system was named the Firebird. It was commanded by General Hana, hero of the Vorath War. Sora had designed it. Tay had approved it. It was the beginning of a new chapter in human history. As the ship entered the wider galaxy, it encountered other species for the first time. Some were friendly. Some were suspicious. All were afraid. You are the humans, an alien ambassador said during the first diplomatic meeting. The ones who defeated the Vorath. We are, Hana confirmed. Why have you come to the stars? Do you seek conquest? Revenge? Hana thought about the question carefully. She thought about everything her people had suffered, everything they had lost, everything they had learned. We come in peace, she said finally. We want to trade, to explore, to learn. But I will tell you this clearly so there is no misunderstanding. If anyone attacks Earth, we will respond with everything we have. We did not ask for war, but we will never lose one. Remember what happened to the Vorath. Remember what happens to those who threaten humanity. The ambassador trembled. It had heard the stories. It had seen the records. It believed every word. Your message is understood, it said. Earth will be respected. And it was. Across the galaxy, on 1,000 worlds, beings of every shape and size learned one simple truth. Humans were different. Humans were dangerous. Humans were the only species that fought harder when they were losing, that refused to accept defeat, that turned their own destruction into a weapon. The Vorath had learned this lesson the hard way. They had attacked the small blue planet and woken something terrifying, something that would never be contained again. Humanity had joined the galactic community, and the galaxy would never be the same. In schools across the stars, teachers taught their students about the Vorath War. They showed them images of burning cities and desperate battles. They told them about ordinary people who became heroes. And they always ended with the same warning. Whatever you do, wherever you go, never forget. Do not wake the humans. The death of Admiral Kraft shook the Vorath fleet. For 3 days, chaos ruled. Ship commanders argued with each other. Orders were ignored. Some officers wanted to continue the attack. Others wanted to retreat. None of them wanted to take responsibility for this disaster. Back on Earth, the humans did not rest. They took advantage of every moment of confusion. Sora worked day and night in her makeshift laboratory. She had alien technology spread across every surface. Engines, weapons, communication devices, shield generators. She studied them like a doctor studying a patient. She took them apart. She put them back together. She learned their secrets. It is not magic, she told her team. It is just science we have not discovered yet. The principles are the same. Energy, matter, physics. They are more advanced, but they are not smarter than us. We can understand everything they have built. Within 2 weeks, she had built 3 more flying craft. They were better than the first one. They had windows. They had controls that humans could actually use. They even had weapons taken from Vorath soldiers and modified to work with human systems. We call them Firebirds, Sora announced, because they rose from the ashes of our defeat. Finding pilots was easy. Hundreds of people volunteered. Everyone wanted to fly into the sky and fight the invaders. But the craft were delicate, complicated. Sora could only train a few pilots at a time. Hannah was one of the first to qualify. She had never flown anything before, but she learned fast. She learned everything fast. Within days, she could handle the Firebird better than Sora expected. "You are a natural," Sora said after watching Hannah complete a difficult maneuver. "I am motivated," Hannah replied. "Every Vorath ship I destroy is revenge for my family." The new commander of the Vorath fleet was named Drak. He was younger than Krath, less experienced but more ruthless. When he took command, he did not make speeches or plans. He simply gave one order: kill them all, burn every city, every town, every village, leave nothing alive. The bombardment began again, but this time the humans were ready. The Firebirds launched from hidden bases and rose to meet the attack. They were small, weak, and poorly built compared to the Vorath fighters. But they were fast, and the humans piloting them were not afraid to die. The first space battle between humans and Vorath lasted 6 hours. The humans lost 7 craft. The Vorath lost 12. It was not a victory, but it was not a defeat either. It was proof that humans could fight in space. "Impossible," Drak muttered as he read the battle report. "They had nothing weeks ago. Now they have spacecraft?" "Sir, the humans appear to have reverse-engineered our technology. They learn very quickly. Then, we must destroy them faster than they can learn." The war entered a new phase. Every day brought new battles. In space, Firebirds clashed with Vorath fighters. On the ground, resistance forces attacked alien bases with weapons they had captured and modified. Underground, scientists and engineers worked to build better weapons, better ships, better tools. Tay coordinated everything. He rarely slept. He ate only when someone forced him to. His hair had turned gray at the temples, though he was not yet 30 years old. But his mind remained sharp, his will unbreakable. "We are wearing them down," he told his commanders during a meeting. "Every ship they lose cannot be replaced. They are far from their empire, far from their factories, but we are home." Every day, more humans join the fight. Every day, our technology improves. It is still not enough, one commander argued. They have hundreds of ships. We have 30 Firebirds. Even if we win every battle, we cannot destroy them all. Then, we do not try to destroy them all, Tay said. We make the war too expensive to continue. We make them decide that Earth is not worth the cost. Wu entered the cave, holding a decoded transmission. His face was strange. Not scared, not hopeful, just strange. "You need to see this," he said. The transmission was from the Voth homeworld. It was addressed to Commander Drac. Tay did not understand the alien language, but Wu's translation was clear. The Voth Empire was concerned. The war on Earth was costing too many resources. Other conquered worlds were watching. Some were beginning to wonder if the Voth were as powerful as they claimed. If the Empire lost to primitives, what did that mean for their control of the galaxy? The message ended with a warning. Drac had 3 more months to conquer Earth. If he failed, the Empire would withdraw and pretend the invasion never happened. Earth would be classified as forbiddance, a death world too dangerous to touch. Tay read the message 3 times. 3 months, he said. We survive 3 months, and they leave. We have been fighting for 2 months already, Hana said. We can survive 3 more. But Drac was not going to make it easy. He launched an all-out assault. Every ship in his fleet moved to attack human positions. Bombardment intensified. Ground troops pushed into the mountains where resistance bases were hidden. The next 6 weeks were the bloodiest of the war. Sora's workshop was destroyed in an orbital strike. She survived only because she had gone to another cave to test a new engine. When she returned, there was nothing left but burned metal and rock. She did not cry. She did not scream. She just started building again, using whatever materials she could find. They killed my team, she told Tay quietly. 23 people. My friends, my students. But I will not stop. I cannot stop. If I stop, they died for nothing. Hannah fought in battle after battle. Her Firebird was hit so many times that it was almost entirely rebuilt with new parts. She lost count of how many enemy ships she destroyed. The Voth began to recognize her craft. They called her the Death Shadow. They avoided her when they could. But the humans were losing people too. Good people. Brave people. Every day, the list of dead grew longer. One night, Tay walked through the caves where civilians were hiding. He saw children drawing pictures on stone walls. He saw old people praying to gods who seemed to have abandoned Earth. He saw young couples holding each other, knowing that each night might be their last. This is what we fight for, he thought. Not territory, not pride, not revenge. We fight for them, for the chance to live. He found Hana standing at the cave entrance, looking up at the stars. She looked tired. There were dark circles under her eyes and a new scar on her cheek. Do you think we can win? She asked without looking at him. Tay considered the question carefully. I do not know, he admitted, but I think we can survive. And sometimes survival is victory. I used to hate them, Hana said. The Voth. I wanted to kill every single one. But now I just want it to end. I want to see the sun without watching for enemy ships. I want to sleep without dreaming of battle. You will, Tay said. One day, this will end. And when it does, you will be one of the heroes who saved humanity. I do not want to be a hero. I just want to be alive. Tay understood. He felt the same way. But there was no choice. They had to keep fighting. In space, the Voth fleet was shrinking. They had lost almost 100 ships to human attacks. Their crews were exhausted and demoralized. Many soldiers had started to believe that Earth was cursed, that the humans were demons sent to punish them for their conquests. Commander Drac refused to accept defeat. He planned one final massive attack. Every remaining ship would target the largest human population center. If he could break the resistance once and for all, he could still claim victory. The attack was scheduled for dawn on the 92nd day of the invasion. The humans knew it was coming. Wu had intercepted the plans. Tay gathered every firebird, every weapon, every person who could fight. "This is it," he told them. "Tomorrow decides everything. If we survive this, they will leave. If we fall, humanity falls with us." No one ran. No one surrendered. They stood together, humans from every country, every background, every belief, united by one simple truth. Earth was their home, and they would defend it to the last breath. 2 months into the war, Devora scientists finally completed their study. The results made Admiral Krath's blood run cold. The lead scientist was named Vex. He had studied hundreds of species across the galaxy. He had dissected creatures from water worlds, desert planets, and frozen moons. He thought he understood biology. Then he looked at humans. "They should not exist," Vex said, standing before the Admiral's throne. "Everything about their evolution is wrong. Or perhaps too right." "Explain," Krath demanded. "Earth is a death world, Admiral. The gravity is heavy. The atmosphere is full of a corrosive gas they call oxygen. The climate changes constantly. The planet is filled with predators, diseases, and natural disasters. Most intelligent species would never evolve in such conditions. They would die first. Yet these humans survived. More than survived. They thrived. They became the dominant species by being more dangerous than anything else on their planet. Their bodies are weapons, Admiral. They are built to hunt, to fight, to endure." Vex activated a display screen. Images of human biology appeared. "Look at this. Their skeletal system can heal from breaks. Given time, their bones become stronger at the breakpoint. They can lose limbs and continue fighting. They can function with only one of many vital organs. They can survive temperatures that would kill most species. They require only a few hours of rest per day to maintain function." Krath stared at the screen. "This is common for them?" "This is their baseline. But it gets worse. When they are threatened, their bodies release chemicals that make them faster, stronger, and nearly immune to pain. They call it adrenaline. During this state, they have been documented lifting objects 10 times their weight, running for hours without rest, and continuing to fight with wounds that should be fatal. "I have seen this in the battle reports," Krath said quietly. "There is more. Their brains are equally dangerous. They are capable of something called rage. It is an emotional state where all fear is replaced with aggression. In this state, they do not care about survival. They only care about destroying their enemy, even if it kills them." Admiral Krath was silent for a long moment. He had conquered 100 worlds. He had faced armies of billions. But he had never faced anything like this. "What do you recommend?" he finally asked. "I recommend we leave this planet. The humans are not worth the cost. In a few generations, they will develop space travel. Then they will be someone else's problem. Devorath do not retreat. Then we must change our strategy. Direct combat favors them. We must use our technology to destroy them from orbit. No more ground troops. No more occupation. Just death from above until nothing is left." Krath considered this. It was against the traditions of the Empire. Conquered planets were supposed to be occupied, their resources extracted, their populations enslaved. Total destruction was wasteful, But these humans were not like other species. Perhaps they deserved a different approach. Begin the orbital strikes, Krath ordered. Burn everything. General Wu intercepted the transmission within minutes. His face went pale as he translated it. They are going to burn the planet, he said. No more ground war. Just fire from the sky. Tay received the news in his command cave. Around him, his officers looked sick with fear. Orbital bombardment was not something they could fight. There was no ambush, no trap, no guerrilla tactic that could stop death raining from space. How long do we have? Tay asked. Maybe 6 hours before they begin. Maybe less. 6 hours. Tay looked at the map of Korea, covered with marks showing resistance positions, supply routes, safe zones. In 6 hours, all of it would be ash. But something in his mind refused to accept defeat. There had to be a way. There was always a way. Ooh, he said suddenly. You have been studying their technology. Their ships. What do we know? Wu's eyes lit up. When he talked about machines, he came alive. Their ships are powerful but not perfect. The shields protect against projectiles and energy weapons, but they have weakness. The shield generator is always at the bottom of the ship. It has to be, because that is where the gravity field is strongest. If we could hit it directly, we do not have weapons that can reach orbit. No, but they have vehicles that travel from space to ground. Landing craft. I have studied the wreckage from the ones we destroyed. They use anti-gravity technology. Very advanced. But the basic principle is simple. What are you saying? Wu smiled his unsettling smile. I am saying I can build something that flies. Maybe not well. Maybe only once. But it will fly. The next 4 hours were chaos. Every engineer, every scientist, every person with any technical skill gathered in the largest cave. They worked on crashed alien vehicles, tearing out components, rewiring systems, building something new. A young woman named Sora led the engineering team. She was 25, small, and quiet. But her mind was brilliant. Before the war, she had designed satellites for a space company. Now she was building humanity's first spacecraft. This is insane, one engineer said as they welded pieces together. We do not even understand half of this technology. We understand enough, Sora replied. Her hands moved quickly, connecting wires, adjusting components. It does not need to be elegant. It just needs to work. By the 5th hour, they had something. It was ugly. It looked like pieces of alien ships held together by tape and hope. It had no windows, no landing gear, no safety systems. But when Sora activated the engine, it lifted off the ground. It works, she breathed. It actually works. But there was a problem. The craft had no weapons. Even if they could reach the alien fleet, what could they do? Tay looked at the nuclear warhead sitting in the corner of the cave. It had been recovered from a destroyed military base weeks ago. They had kept it hidden, waiting for a use. Can you carry that? Yes. Sora looked at the bomb. Her face was calm. She understood what he was asking. Yes, the craft can carry it. But whoever pilots, this will not come back. The blast will destroy everything within kilometers. Silence fell over the cave. Everyone understood. This was a suicide mission. Someone would have to fly into the alien fleet and die. Tay stepped forward. I will do it. No, Hannah said immediately. We need you here. You lead the resistance. Then who? An old man pushed through the crowd. His name was Bong. He had been a pilot in the old Air Force. His body was worn down by age and injury. He had trouble walking some days. But his eyes were sharp. I will go, he said. Uncle, you cannot, someone started. I can. I am old. My family is dead. My country is gone. Let me do this one last thing. Let me show these invaders what humans are made of. No one could argue. There was no time to argue. They loaded the nuclear warhead into the craft. They gave Bong a quick lesson on the alien controls. He listened carefully, asked no questions, showed no fear. Before he climbed into the small cockpit, he turned to face the gathered humans. "Do not mourn me," he said. "Celebrate this day. Today, humanity reaches the stars. Not with peace, not with exploration, but with fire and fury. Let the galaxy remember us as warriors." The craft launched into the dark sky. It was unsteady, shaking, barely holding together. But it flew upward, breaking through the clouds, leaving the atmosphere of Earth for the first time since the invasion began. Admiral Krath was preparing to give the bombardment order when alarms started screaming. "Why is that?" he demanded. "Unknown craft approaching, sir. It appears to be made from our own wreckage. Sir, it is on collision course with the fleet. Shoot it down." Weapons fired. The small craft dodged, spun, barely avoided the beams of energy. Bong flew like a man possessed. He was laughing. He was screaming. He was alive for the first time in months. The shields of the flagship stopped the craft. But Bong never intended to ram the ship. He flew underneath it, where the shield generator pulsed with blue light. "For Earth," he whispered. The nuclear explosion lit up the space around the fleet. The flagship shields failed. The blast tore through its lower decks. Secondary explosions ripped the massive ship apart. Admiral Krath died without understanding what had happened. One moment he was conquering a primitive world. The next moment, a primitive had killed him. On Earth, humans watched the light bloom in the night sky. They did not know the details yet, but they knew something had changed. In the caves, Wu picked up alien transmissions. His translator worked quickly. "They are panicking," he said, voice shaking with disbelief. "Their flagship is destroyed. Their admiral is dead. They do not know what to do." Hannah looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, an old man had just changed history. "Now we fight harder," she said. "Now we show them what fear really means." 3 weeks had passed since the invasion began. The Vorath controlled all the major cities. Their ships patrolled the skies day and night. Their soldiers walked the streets of broken towns, searching for survivors. They thought the war was over. They were wrong. In the mountains of Korea, the resistance had grown. What started as a few hundred survivors was now a network of thousands. They lived in caves, in tunnels, in any place the aliens could not easily find. They were hungry. They were tired. But they were not broken. Hannah was 23 years old. Before the invasion, she had been a university student studying history. She had never fired a gun in her life. Now she was one of the best soldiers in Tae's unit. War changed people quickly. She crouched behind a fallen tree, watching the road below. An alien patrol would pass through soon. She knew their schedule. She had been watching them for 5 days. "How many?" whispered the soldier next to her. His name was Day. He was older, maybe 40. He had been a taxi driver before everything changed. "8," Hannah replied. "Same as always. They never changed their route. They think we are too stupid to notice." Day smiled. It was not a happy smile. "They will learn." The patrol came exactly on time. 8 Vorath soldiers marched down the road in a tight formation. Their weapons hummed with energy. Their 4 eyes scanned the forest, but they did not see the humans hidden in the shadows. They never did. Humans were small and weak. Not worth watching closely. Hannah raised her hand. The signal. From the trees on both sides of the road, humans attacked. They fired captured alien weapons. They threw homemade bombs. They screamed with rage that had been building for weeks. The aliens tried to fight back, but the ambush was too fast, too violent. In less than a minute, all 8 were dead. Hannah walked among the bodies. She felt nothing. No guilt, no pride. Just cold determination. These creatures had burned her city. They had killed her family. Every one of them deserved death. Take their weapons, she ordered. Take their armor. Anything useful. Hannah, they called. This one is still alive. She walked over. An alien soldier lay on the ground, green blood pouring from a wound in its chest. It looked up at her with 4 eyes full of fear. It tried to speak, but only strange clicking sounds came out. Hannah knelt down. She looked into its eyes. She wanted it to understand. Tell your people, she said slowly. Tell them what we do to invaders. Then she pulled her knife and ended it. Back at the mountain base, Tay studied maps by candlelight. Reports came in from all over the country. The resistance was growing everywhere. People who had never held weapons were learning to fight. Farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, children. Everyone who could hold a gun did, but it was not enough. The Vorath had too many soldiers, too much technology. For every alien killed, 10 more came. The humans needed something more. We need to understand them, Una said. She sat across from Tay, her face tired but focused. Their biology, their technology, their weaknesses. We cannot win with just courage. How do we do that? We captured one of their communication devices last week. If we can translate their language, we can read their transmissions. We can learn their plans. Tay nodded. Who do we have that can work on it? There is a man in the eastern tunnels. His name is Wu. He was a computer engineer before. He is very smart. But he is also very strange. Strange how? He does not sleep. He talks to himself. He stares at machines for hours without moving. Some people think he is crazy. Good, Tay said. We need crazy right now. Wu was exactly as Una described. He was thin, pale, and his eyes had a wild look. When Tay entered his small cave, Wu did not even look up. He was staring at pieces of alien technology spread across a stone table. They use light, Wu said suddenly. Their data moves on light beams. Very fast, very efficient, but also very simple. Once you understand the pattern, it is easy to read. Can you translate their messages? Wu finally looked at Tay. A smile spread across his face. It was not a comforting smile. Already done. I've been listening to them for 3 days. Tay felt his heart beat faster. What are they saying? Many things. Boring military reports. Supply requests. But there is one thing that is very interesting. Wu leaned closer. They are afraid. Afraid? Of us? Not yet. But they are confused. They have conquered many planets. They have defeated many species. But never like this. Other species surrender when they see they cannot win. Humans do not surrender. Humans fight harder when they are losing. The Vorath do not understand this. It bothers them. Tay sat down on a rock. This was important information. The Vorath were not used to enemies who refused to give up. Their whole strategy was based on crushing hope. But humans did not need hope to fight. Humans fought on anger, on love, on pure stubbornness. What else? Tay asked. They have a name for us now. In their language, it means the mad ones. They think we are mentally damaged. They cannot imagine a healthy mind that chooses war over surrender. Tay laughed. It was the first time he had laughed since the invasion. Let them think we are mad. Let them fear the madness. Over the next few weeks, the resistance used Wu's intelligence to strike harder and smarter. They knew when convoys would move. They knew where patrols would go. They hit the aliens where they were weakest and disappeared before reinforcements arrived. Hannah led more missions than anyone. She was fast, silent and deadly. The other soldiers called her the Shadow. The aliens learned to fear dark places where she might be hiding. One night, she led a team into a small alien base. It was a supply station, lightly guarded. The plan was simple. Get in, destroy the supplies, get out. But inside, Hana found something unexpected. A room full of humans, prisoners. They were locked in cages like animals. Their eyes were empty. Some had strange marks on their bodies. What did they do to you? Hana whispered that one prisoner, an old man, looked at her. His voice was barely a whisper. Experiments. They study us. They want to know why we keep fighting. They take our blood. They scan our brains. They do not understand us. Hana felt rage building inside her. Cold, dark rage that threatened to consume everything. We are getting you out of here, she said. They freed 43 prisoners that night. They killed every alien in the base. They burned everything to the ground. When Admiral Kraft heard the report, he broke a console with his fist. How? He demanded. How do these primitives keep defeating us? Admiral, we have analyzed the captured data, his science officer said nervously. There is something wrong with these humans. Their bodies are designed for survival in ways we did not expect. High-gravity world. Dangerous environment. They evolved to endure pain, to heal from terrible injuries, to keep functioning when they should be dead. I do not want science reports. I want solutions. Perhaps we should leave this planet. The cost of conquest is becoming too high. We have lost more soldiers here in 1 month than we lost taking the Crick's homeworld. Kraft turned slowly. His 4 eyes burned with fury. The Vorath do not retreat. Send more troops. Send better weapons. I will crush these mad creatures if it is the last thing I do. But in his hearts, for the first time in his long career, Admiral Kraft felt something unfamiliar. It was small, like a tiny seed. But it was there in the mountains. Tay read the intercepted transmission about the reinforcements coming from space. He shared it with his commanders. They sat in silence, understanding what it meant. More enemies. More death. Harder battles. Then Hana stood up. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with fire. Good, she said. Let them come. The more they send, the more we kill. We will make this planet their grave. No one argued. No one doubted. They were human. And humans never knew when to quit. The stars had always been beautiful from Earth. People looked up at the night sky and dreamed of what might be out there. They wondered if they were alone in the universe. On the morning of March 15th, they got their answer. The answer was terrifying. The Vorath Empire had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had conquered more than 1,000 planets. They had destroyed any species that refused to bow before them. Their ships were massive, dark, and covered with weapons that could burn entire cities in seconds. When they found Earth, they laughed. The small blue planet was primitive. The creatures living there had barely left their own moon. This would be easy. Admiral Kraft stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Darkness. He looked at the planet spinning slowly below him. His gray skin stretched as he smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. His 4 eyes blinked one after another as he studied the scan results. They have nuclear weapons, his second officer reported. Primitive projectile weapons. Chemical rockets. Nothing that can hurt us. As expected, Kraft said. His voice was deep and cold. Begin the invasion. I want this planet under our control within 3 rotations. 500 warships descended through Earth's atmosphere. They came down over every major city. New York, London, Tokyo, Seoul, Beijing, Moscow. The sky turned dark with their shadows. People on the ground looked up and screamed. Some ran, some prayed. Some just stood frozen in fear, and soul. A young military commander named Tay was eating breakfast when the alarm started. He dropped his spoon and ran to the window. What he saw made his blood turn cold. 3 massive ships hung over the city like mountains floating in the sky. They were so large they blocked out the sun. "All units, report to your stations," the speaker crackled. "This is not a drill." "Repeat, this is not a drill." Tay grabbed his uniform and ran. He was only 28 years old, but he had trained his whole life for war. He never thought the enemy would come from the stars. The first attack came at noon. Beams of green light shot down from the alien ships. Buildings exploded. Bridges collapsed. Thousands died in seconds. The sound was like thunder that never stopped. Tay watched from his command post as half of Seoul disappeared in fire and smoke. "Return fire!" Someone shouted. Missiles launched from hidden bases. Tanks fired their cannons. Fighter jets screamed through the sky toward the enemy ships. It was useless. The missiles exploded against invisible shields. The bullets bounced off like rain. The fighter jets were swatted out of the sky like insects. In 2 hours, Earth's military was almost destroyed. Every major city was burning. Governments collapsed. Communication systems failed. Humanity was on its knees, but they did not surrender. Tay gathered the survivors from his unit. There were only 47 soldiers left from a battalion of 500. They were bloody, scared, and tired. But their eyes still burned with something the Varath had never seen before. It was called defiance. "We fall back to the mountains," Tay ordered. "We hide, we survive, and then we fight." "Sir, how can we fight them?" a young soldier named Jin asked. His hands were shaking. "Their weapons are too strong. Their shields are too powerful." Tay looked at the burning city behind them. He thought about his family, his mother, his little sister. He did not know if they were alive or dead. The pain in his chest was sharp, but he pushed it down. There would be time for grief later. If there was a later. "I don't know how," Tay admitted. "But we will find a way. Humans always find a way." They marched through the night. They moved through forests and over hills. They avoided the alien patrols that swept the land with bright lights and scanning beams. When dawn came, they found a cave system in the mountains north of Seoul. Inside the caves, they found others. Survivors from different units. Civilians who had escaped the cities. Old people, children, families. There were almost 300 people hiding in the darkness underground. A woman named Yuna was leading them. She was a doctor, not a soldier. But when the world ended, titles did not matter anymore. She had organized food and water. She had treated the wounded. She had kept these people alive when everything fell apart. "You are military?" she asked when she saw Tay's uniform. "What's left of it?" he replied. "Good. We need you. The aliens have been taking people. Anyone they capture, they put on their ships. We do not know why." Tay felt anger rising in his chest. The Varath were not just conquering Earth. They were harvesting it. "We will stop them," he said. Yuna looked at him with sad eyes. "With what?" "We have nothing. We have something they do not expect," Tay said. "We have the will to fight until our last breath. I have seen their soldiers. They are strong, but they are not brave. They expect easy victory. They have never met an enemy who refuses to die." Over the next few days, Tay organized the survivors. He trained the civilians who wanted to fight. He sent scouts to watch the alien movements. He collected any weapons they could find. Guns, knives, even farming tools. The Varath walked on the surface of Earth like they owned it. They set up bases. They built strange machines. They spoke to each other in clicking sounds that hurt human ears. They did not worry about the survivors hiding in holes and caves. Why would they? These creatures were primitive, weak. Defeated on the fifth day, Tay led his first attack. A small alien patrol was walking through a destroyed village. There were 6 of them. They were tall, gray, and carried weapons that glowed with blue light. Tay and 12 soldiers waited in the ruins. Their hearts beat fast. Their hands were sweating, but they did not run. When the aliens walked into the trap, the humans attacked. They came from every direction. They fired their guns and threw their grenades. 4 aliens died before they could react. The other 2 tried to fight back, but Jin jumped on one and drove a knife through its neck. The last one screamed something in its alien language. Before a bullet found its skull, it was over in 30 seconds. Tay stood over the dead aliens, breathing hard. His soldiers cheered. It was a small victory. 6 enemies dead. But it was proof. The Vorath could be killed. Word spread through the underground networks. Humans were fighting back. In China, a group of farmers ambushed an alien convoy. In Russia, soldiers destroyed a landing ship with explosives. In America, a teenager found a weakness in the alien communication system. Admiral Krath heard these reports and frowned. This was strange. Conquered species always surrendered when they saw the power of Vorath. They accepted their fate. They begged for mercy. But these humans were different. They kept fighting even when it was hopeless. They died with weapons in their hands. They smiled as they killed. Increase the patrols, Krath ordered. Find these resistance groups and destroy them. Yes, Admiral. But sir, there is something unusual in the biological data. What is it? These humans. Their bodies produce chemicals when they are in danger. It makes them stronger, faster. They call it adrenaline. We have never seen anything like it. Krath's 4 eyes narrowed. Interesting. But it does not matter. They are still primitive. They will fall. In the caves under the Korean mountains, Tay looked at a captured alien weapon. He did not understand how it worked. But he would learn. He would learn, and he would use their own technology against them. This was not the end of humanity. This was just the beginning.